Good morning. My name is Mallon, and I am the CTO of Humanity. Today, I am basically re-recording one of my talks at Cop28 around climate action in the world of AI. The reason I'm re-recording it is because I only kind of had like 10, 12 minutes to present it, and I wanted to kind of extend it a little bit. And also, who knows when I will get the recordings. So here we go. As I mentioned, CTO of Humanity. Humanity is an entity that is there to promote better storytelling within the very broad concept of driving humanity forward. I've been in engineering and technology for over 20 years, working across many different areas of data, AI, natural language understanding, innovation, etc., etc. But my passion is really around data-driven storytelling and how we can make massively personalized stories for people to engage with technology and causes that are impactful to a global audience. So much so that I wrote a book called DKR, Dynamic Knowledge Rendering, which hopefully will be out in time for Christmas, one for the stocking fillers. But if you want a free copy, just ping me a message and I will ping it over to you. Now, when I presented this at Cop28 last week in Dubai, I asked for a member of the audience to come up as a volunteer, and our very kind moderator, Jerry, volunteered. Jerry, I basically just took a photo, recorded 30 seconds of him speaking. He told me he lived in Nairobi, Kenya, and that his kind of desire for action in the world was to see a sustainable, growing, vibrant future Kenyan. Now, that is very interesting information, which we'll come back to at the end of this presentation. Now, if you're like me, the mainstream media, just media in general, is presenting climate action pretty dire and pretty negatively. And this is the reason why I wanted to do a talk on climate action in a world of AI, because everything you read or see around it has been doom and gloom, particularly actually in the lead up to COP. Now, I understand that fear-mongering kind of mentality in some ways is needed to invoke change. But there's this great excerpt from a human behavior expert at the UK called Lee Groombridge. And basically what it concludes is that, fear is a great motivator for someone in the short term. But if you want someone to invoke change, and if that change is over 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 years, you can't do it with fear. It has to be done with inspiration. You need to be going towards something, not away from it, be it a city that is run on clean, vibrant fuel, or if you have a desert and you want to create a prosperous cosmopolitan country like the UAE, like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, you need to present something that people can go towards, not away from. And I think this is where we kind of got it wrong with climate action, because we're not promoting the benefits of doing stuff. Like, what is actually the upside of actually fixing this problem or getting to net zero? What if we promoted the outcome of if we have these cities that have clean, scalable, cheap energy, if we have air quality that is pristine, if we have rivers we can swim in, if public transport is efficient and running on solar, whatever it may be, what does life look like in that world? Because that gives you something to aspire to, so something to go towards. And that is what we need to be promoting more, in my humble opinion. And artificial intelligence gives us a way to do that. It gives us a way to make climate data and climate information much more accessible than it has been. Because climate information, climate data is in these things. It's in these very long, normally dry reports that are typically only read by people in the climate industry. And I just picked 3: Broken Record, Under Financed and Underprepared, and the Climate Technology Progress Report. The first 2 were released in the last few weeks at COP28, but all 3 of them are around 100 pages long. And though they contain unbelievably invaluable information and data, they're 100 pages long each, and not many people read them. But we have this thing called artificial intelligence. Now, over the years, artificial intelligence has been gradually improving, maybe even over the decades, it's been gradually improving around statistical improvements. Algorithms have got quicker, more efficient. We've moved from getting it to solve Jeopardy and chess to Go and computer games, and now even medicine. But along the same time, probably about 5 years ago, we were trying to make natural language understanding much better. We're using a thing called intent matching, which is where you say, person wants to buy product for price, and then you slot fill into them 3 different points. And that kind of hit a point of very great repeatability, but it didn't sound like a human. It wasn't interacting like a human would be. And then these things came along called large language models. You're probably familiar with one called ChatGPT, and they were trained on basically the internet at a point in time. And by training on this information, the large language model got to understand human language and how we presented information, even if spelling was wrong, even if some of the words were wrong. It basically understood the linguistic structure of how we communicate. And that meant now we can basically communicate with technology in our native tongue how we would too with another person. And I don't think we've even seen the start of what amazingness this is going to deliver to us. I think next year in particular is going to be quite powerful. But what it means we can do is means we can both ingest these reports, these hundreds of pages, and then we can communicate with them. We can basically talk to them. We can extract, we can interrogate, we can query, we can conversate to find out not only the points that maybe we want to extract, but actually just having a chat like you would if you were out with some friends and you were just talking about the concept. So I wanted to demonstrate this. So trying to make it and keep it accessible, I picked ChatGPT. It's one that most people are aware of. And what I did is I grabbed this document, this broken record report from the UN Environmental Programme, and I fed it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a large language model, an LLM, and I basically created what is called a GTP. And I said, I want you to basically reference this document so I can talk to it. So I played the document, and then I asked it, summarize me this document with the 5 key points. And then, as you can see here, this was the first kind of output, and it kind of highlights the 5 key elements of this report. Now, it's a 100-page report, so you think like, okay, what else can I ask it? And this is where I basically said, okay, what can I ask you? And it presented to me these questions, and then I started basically just going backwards and forwards. If you've experienced with ChatGPT, you can kind of go down a bit of a quest to the existence of everything. Now, if you have ChatGPT Pro, you can scan this QR code and communicate with this same report. This is now accessible to anybody. And this is great. It means you can communicate with this report. You can ask it questions. You can say, how does what happens if we don't cut emissions? Like, how does this affect my day-to-day life in Abu Dhabi, in London, in Nairobi, in New York? And it will give you some thoughts. Where this is kind of goes up a level, in my opinion, and what we're going to see a lot of in 2024 is this idea called dynamic knowledge rendering, DKR, which is where prior to now, that 100-page document is a static bit of information. It's the Gutenberg press of distribution. It's people who pushed out this 100-page report and said, go and read it. What we're saying now is that in this world of artificial intelligence, in this world of large language models, in this world of amazing natural language understanding, what if we represent this static document in a neuralistic fashion? And what if we just store it in basically language knowledge? And then, as I said on the previous slides, we can talk to it. But more importantly, we can now convert it. We can now turn that 100-page report into an array of different things. Now, what I'm about to show you, from the second I uploaded the report to completion, took me about 4 minutes. And most of it is doable with very limited technical knowledge. So first up, I said, can you write me a LinkedIn post with emojis that basically sums up the report, which it did. And then I said, can you generate me a LinkedIn ratioed header to also go with this report. Then I said, can you give me an Instagram infographic? And it created this infographic highlighting, obviously, the key metrics from the report. And then I said, right, and now I want a script. I want you to generate me a script that I can give to a synthetic voice tool. And then I can generate an AI avatar. And then I can put all them things together and I can deploy this to TikTok. And this is what it then created.
Hi, everyone. I'm here to talk about net zero emissions. It's more than just a pledge. It's our roadmap to a sustainable future. We must act now to reduce our carbon footprint and innovate for a greener tomorrow. Every step counts.
Then I asked it to generate me a blog so I could put it onto my own website. I then said, actually, I've got kids. I want to generate a quiz. Can you give me some questions and the answers for a school quiz? And actually, one of my kids really likes coloring. So what about a map and show me some of the heat ratios of where heat is going to happen over the next kind of, say, 10, 20 years? Or what about a video that I can put on YouTube that shows some of the data trends and how things can happen? Or let's get a bit more artistic and go for a spoken word poem. What if we want to take that poem, we want to synthesize a voice and we want to add some AI-driven music with a slight kind of Kenyan kind of vibe, just to kind of pull in some of the stuff we did with Jerry at the beginning. We generate this.
In the year 2022, a record set, stark and true, 57.4 gigatons of CO2, a number so high, a call to action we can't deny. Net zero pledges, a growing trend, more than promises, we must mend. Actions louder than words must ring, for a future bright, hope to bring.
And now everything I've shown you so far is English. The report was English, all the content has been English. So what if I take that same spoken word poem and I put it into, say, Arabic?
في العام 2022 رقم قياسي محدد قاطع وحقيقي 57.4 جيجا طن من ثاني أكسيد الكربون، رقم عال جدا، نداء للتحرك لا يمكننا إنكاره. الالتزامات بالوصول للصفر الصافي تتزايد، أكثر من مجرد وعود يجب أن نصلح. الأفعال أعلى صوتا من الكلمات يجب أن ترن، من أجل مستقبل مشرق، أملا في أن نجلب.
Now, the key thing with all this is that I created all of this in under 4 minutes. This is the power of artificial intelligence within great storytelling, is that we can not only create things, but we can now create it in such a small amount of time. And I could even take all this and I could turn it into an array of different languages. But even if we take all this and we put it into different languages, we still don't quite hit what I like to call the Disney moment, the Bambi in the field, the Ratatouille Igor critic at the end when he gets the flashback back to childhood. And personally, I think this is the thing that's going to massively drive content creation over the next year or two, which is hyper personalization. We're going to get to a point now whereby everything we see, we do, is going to be directly generated for us as individuals. The age of us having one piece of media that is spanned across millions of people, I think, is going to slowly decrease. Now, this is where we loop back to Jerry from the beginning when I asked him for a volunteer. Well, I asked him for a photo, I asked for a snippet of his voice, where he lives in the world, and what his climate action passion. And then from that, what he's able to do, it takes around 20 minutes, is generate music, a script, a character. In this case, it's a slightly older version of Jerry, a narrated voice using his voice as a seed, so you'll hear slightly Irish twang. And then we were able to pull news from around the world around startups and positive actions that are happening in Nairobi, in wider Kenya, and then also generate B-roll footage off the back of that. Now, pulling all this together, we were able to generate this 2-minute video of future Jerry talking back to him about the amazement of what's happened over the last 20 years from 2047. Enjoy.
Hello, Jerry, in 2023. Greetings from 2047. It's me, your future self. As Cop28 draws to a close, I'm compelled to reflect on the remarkable journey we've embarked upon. Your actions and decisions over the past decade have profoundly impacted Kenya, steering us towards a thriving and remarkable world. Decades ago, but just a few months in your timeline, a pivotal agreement was forged for a green hydrogen plant in Mombasa. What started as a modest venture catalyzed Kenya into becoming a leading exporter of green hydrogen. By 2023, Kenya was already harnessing over 70% of its energy from renewables, such as geothermal, hydro, and wind, with solar energy gaining traction. The advent of green hydrogen and other technological leaps enabled us to achieve 100% renewable energy by 2030, even as our energy demand skyrocketed by 400%. Remember Amini, the small startup launched in 2023. By 2040, their groundbreaking use of satellite data and artificial intelligence transformed Kenyan agriculture. We emerged as a net exporter of food, a testament to their ingenuity and foresight. Our urban landscapes have been revolutionized, thanks largely to the accessibility of clean and affordable energy. We were at the forefront of innovation, introducing the world's first free-to-use drone public transport system, redefining urban mobility, and setting a global precedent. The seeds we sowed in the 2020s have blossomed into a world that thrives sustainably. This era stands as a tribute to your dedication to change, your embrace of innovation, and your commitment to preserving our planet. Only you could see Nairobi now. It has become a symbol of sustainable advancement and progress. Our collective efforts have played a crucial role in this transformation, marking an extraordinary chapter in our journey. Thank you. From 20...
All of that hyper-personalization, we can really tell an engaging story and therefore invoke a much more positive climate action. Thank you very much. And also, just to finish off, even a QR code can be engaging and interesting. This one here, as you can see, highlighting nature. Thank you.